There is a question that physicists are not supposed to ask, not because it's stupid, but because asking it correctly might mean the word before no longer means anything at all. Today, we're going to ask it anyway. Science has given us astonishing answers about how the universe began. We know it started 13.8 billion years ago, in an event we call the Big Bang. We can map the faint echo of that explosion, still ringing across the entire sky right now. But here's what no textbook will tell you on the first page. Ask any cosmologist what came before that moment, and you'll watch their face do something remarkable. They pause, because the honest answer is, nobody knows. And the stranger answer is, the question itself might be the problem. Today, we are going to travel to the edge of what physics can say. We'll meet the scientists who dared to imagine a universe with no beginning. And we'll arrive at an answer so strange, it might just change how you think about time itself. In 1927, a Belgian priest and physicist named Georges Lemaître looked at data from distant galaxies and noticed something no one expected. They were all moving away from us, every single one. Think of it like a loaf of raisin bread baking in an oven. As the bread expands, every raisin moves away from every other raisin. The raisins aren't moving. The bread is growing. Georges Lemaître realized something extraordinary. If the universe is expanding now, then run the clock backwards, and everything was once squeezed into a single point. He called it the primeval atom. Today, we call it the Big Bang. For decades, many scientists resisted this idea. Even Einstein. He famously added a mathematical fudge factor called the cosmological constant to his equations, just to keep the universe static. Years later, he called it his greatest blunder. But in 1964, two radio engineers named Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson accidentally discovered the smoking gun. They were trying to clean a radio antenna in New Jersey and kept picking up a faint, irritating hiss from everywhere in the sky. No matter where they pointed the antenna, the signal remained. It was the leftover heat from the Big Bang itself, the cosmic microwave background, like finding the warm embers of a fire that burned 13.8 billion years ago. They won the Nobel Prize. The Big Bang was real. By the 1970s, cosmology finally had its founding story. The universe had a beginning, a moment zero, a birth. But this is where the forbidden question finally arrives, and why it freezes physicists cold. If the universe began at a single point, in a single moment, what was happening 1 second before that moment? The first answer physics gives us is the most honest one. We don't know, because time itself may have started at the Big Bang. This was the insight of Stephen Hawking and Roger Penrose in the 1960s. Hawking proved mathematically that if Einstein's theory of general relativity is correct, then time itself begins at the Big Bang. There is no before, the same way there is no place north of the North Pole. Imagine standing at the North Pole. Every direction you walk is south. There is no further north. There is nowhere to go. The Big Bang is the North Pole of time. But Hawking himself was not satisfied with that answer. In 1983, working with physicist James Hartle, Hawking proposed something even stranger. He called it the no-boundary proposal. The idea goes like this. Imagine the entire history of the universe as the surface of a sphere, like the Earth. On a sphere, you can ask where the North Pole begins, but it doesn't have an edge or a starting point. It just is. Hartle and Hawking proposed that the universe has no boundary in time either, no beginning, no edge. Time itself was once a fourth dimension of space, smooth and closed. There was no before because the geometry of time simply curves back on itself. Other physicists took Hawking's idea and pushed it even further. Roger Penrose, the Oxford mathematician who shared a Nobel Prize in 2020, proposed something called conformal cyclic cosmology. His idea was simple and astonishing. The Big Bang was not a beginning, it was a bounce, like a ball hitting a wall. Before our universe, there was another universe, ancient, cold, and dying. At its final moment, its geometry became so smooth that it was mathematically identical to a new Big Bang. Our universe was born from the death of the previous one. And when our universe dies, it may give birth to the next. An endless chain of cosmic rebirths. Think of it like a river flowing into an ocean. The water evaporates, falls as rain, and becomes a river again. There is a fourth theory, and it may be the most unsettling of all. It comes from quantum mechanics, the science of the smallest things that exist. In quantum mechanics, the word nothing does not mean what you think it means. Empty space is not truly empty, it seethes with energy. Particles constantly wink in and out of existence, appearing from nothing for a fraction of a second, then vanishing again. This is not science fiction, it has been measured. It's called the Casimir effect. Physicist Alexander Vilenkin, working at Tufts University, proposed in 1982 that the universe itself could have quantum tunneled into existence from literally nothing. Not nothing like an empty room. Nothing like no space, no time, no energy, no laws of physics, absolute nothing. And yet, quantum probability allows a transition from that state to a universe. So where does this leave us? We now have 4 serious scientific answers to the question of what came before the Big Bang. 1. The question itself may be meaningless. Time began there, and before simply does not exist. 2. The universe has no boundary. Time was once a dimension of space, smooth, closed, with no edge. 3. Our universe may be one of infinite cycles, a cosmic phoenix, dying and reborn forever. 4. The universe may have quantum tunneled from absolute nothing, no cause, no creator, no prior state. Every one of these theories has been proposed by a Nobel laureate or a physicist of the highest standing. Every one of them is mathematically serious. And right now, none of them can be proven. The James Webb Space Telescope, launched in 2021, is searching for the oldest light in the universe. Light from just 200 million years after the Big Bang. But it cannot see before the bang. Nothing can. At least, not yet. And that is what I find remarkable about this moment in science. The questions physics is asking today, about a state before time, about creation from nothingness, about beginnings without edges, are questions humanity has wrestled with for thousands of years. In the 7th century, the Quran addressed the nature of cosmic origins in a verse that many scholars have noted contains a striking literary parallel to the modern scientific picture. Do not those who disbelieve see that the heavens and the earth were a joined entity, and we separated them? Surah Al-Anbiya, chapter 21, verse 30. The Arabic word used for the joined state, ratq, has been discussed by Islamic scholars as referring to a sealed, fused, undifferentiated whole, and the word used for separation, fatq, to a rupture or a splitting apart. Scholars of Islamic theology discuss this verse within cosmological discourse, not as a scientific claim, but as a literary and philosophical statement about the unity and origin of creation. What is remarkable as a matter of literary observation is that modern cosmology's best language for the Big Bang sounds strikingly similar. A singularity, a single undifferentiated point, which expanded and separated into everything we see. This parallel proves nothing in either direction. Science does not confirm Scripture. Scripture does not settle science. But it is a reminder that the oldest questions belong to all of us. We know when the universe became transparent to light, approximately 380,000 years after the Big Bang. But before that, there is a wall of fire. And in the next episode, We are going to walk straight into it.